Daniel was a quiet man. Every evening, when the sun began to set and most people had already left the office building, he started his work. He was the janitor of a big company. His job was to clean the floors, empty the trash, and make sure everything looked neat and tidy before the next day. Daniel did this job every day without complaint. He wore a simple blue uniform and carried a mop and bucket with him. The floors were large and shiny, made of smooth tiles that reflected the lights above. Daniel moved slowly but carefully, making sure to clean every corner. He liked the quiet time when no one was around. The silence helped him think. Daniel was a single father. He had a daughter named Mia who was 7 years old. Mia was his whole world. Every morning before school, Daniel woke her up, made her breakfast, and helped her get ready. Then he dropped her off at the small school near their home. After that, Daniel went to work. The janitor job was not easy. Sometimes, Daniel felt tired, but he never showed it. He wanted to provide a good life for Mia. He wanted her to have the things he did not have when he was a child. Daniel worked hard, not just for money but because he believed in taking care of what he had. The office building was very big. It had many rooms, desks, and computers. People came to work there every day, sitting at their desks, talking on phones, and typing on keyboards. Daniel often saw them during the day but never spoke much to them. He was invisible to most of them. They only saw the janitor with his mop and bucket. Daniel did not mind. He liked to keep to himself. He had his own quiet world. He liked to listen to soft music on his small radio while he worked. Sometimes, he hummed songs he remembered from when Mia was a baby. These small moments made him feel calm. One thing Daniel kept with him always was a small photograph. It was a picture of his late wife, Hannah. Hannah was from Japan. She was kind and full of life. They had met many years ago when Daniel traveled to Japan for work. They fell in love and got married soon after. But life was not always easy. Hannah got sick and passed away a few years before. Daniel was left alone with Mia. He missed Hannah every day, but he also knew he had to be strong for his daughter. The photo was a way to remember her, to feel close to her when he felt lonely. Even though Daniel was not a teacher, doctor, or businessman, he had many lessons to teach Mia. He taught her to be kind, to be honest, and to work hard. Mia was a bright child who loved to read books and learn new things. Daniel helped her with her homework every evening after work. Sometimes, Mia asked questions about her mother and about Japan. Daniel told her stories about Hannah's family, their culture, and their language. He had learned some Japanese words from Hannah. It was a secret language between them, a special connection that Daniel kept alive for Mia. Back at the office building, the days passed one after another. Daniel's work was routine, but he took pride in it. He knew the building needed him. Without his careful cleaning, the floors would be dirty, the rooms messy. It was not a small job. It was important. One evening, Daniel finished mopping the main hallway. He looked at the shiny floor and smiled quietly to himself. The soft lights made the place look warm and peaceful. He took a deep breath and thought about Mia waiting for him at home. As he pushed his mop slowly across the floor, Daniel felt a small hope inside him. Maybe, one day, things would change. Maybe people would notice him, not just as a janitor, but as someone more. But for now, he was happy doing his job well and taking care of his daughter. In the quiet of the office, Daniel moved on to the next room. The sound of the mop sliding on the floor was the only noise. The building was calm, but Daniel's heart was full. He worked not just to clean floors, but to build a better life. And as the night grew darker outside, Daniel finished his work and prepared to go home. Tomorrow would be another day, another chance to do his best. But tonight, as always, he was the quiet janitor, working in silence, dreaming of a brighter future. The next evening, Daniel arrived at the office building just as the sun began to set. The sky was painted with soft colors of orange and pink. Inside the building, the usual quiet awaited him. Daniel put on his blue uniform and grabbed his mop and bucket. He was ready to start his work. As he moved through the empty hallways, Daniel noticed a figure standing near the large glass doors by the main entrance. It was Mr. Tanaka, the CEO of the company. Daniel had seen him many times before, but tonight, something was different. Mr. Tanaka stood very still, his hands folded in front of him. His face was calm but serious. He looked around the empty office quietly, as if thinking deeply. Daniel felt a little nervous. He had never spoken to the CEO before. Most people in the building only saw Mr. Tanaka as a quiet and strict man who kept to himself. The janitor finished mopping the floor near the entrance and paused for a moment. He looked at Mr. Tanaka again. The CEO did not speak or move. Daniel wondered what was on his mind. He wanted to help but didn't know how. Daniel remembered a story his wife Hannah used to tell him about respect. She said, "Sometimes, people who seem silent have the loudest thoughts." Daniel thought about those words and decided to be brave. He walked slowly toward Mr. Tanaka, holding his mop carefully. "Good evening, sir," Daniel said softly. The CEO did not answer but looked at Daniel with a quiet gaze. Daniel noticed something in the CEO's hand, a small brochure with Japanese writing. His heart skipped a beat. He remembered the few Japanese words Hannah had taught him long ago. The memory felt warm, like a light in the dark. Taking a deep breath, Daniel spoke gently in Japanese. "Good evening, can I help you?" Mr. Tanaka's eyes widened in surprise. He looked at Daniel, clearly stunned to hear his own language spoken by the janitor. For a moment, no one spoke. The silence was deep but different now, it felt alive. Then, with a small smile, Mr. Tanaka replied quietly in Japanese. "Thank you. Yes, please help me a little." Daniel nodded, feeling a sudden connection. The two men began to talk softly in Japanese, their voices low but warm. Mr. Tanaka showed Daniel the brochure and explained his worries about a new project in Japan. Daniel listened carefully and offered his thoughts. For the first time, Daniel saw a different side of the CEO. He was not just a serious man in a suit, he was a person with worries, dreams, and feelings. Daniel shared a little about his own life, about Mia, and about his wife Hannah. The CEO listened kindly. As they talked, the building around them seemed less empty and cold. The lights felt brighter. Daniel realized that sometimes, words are more powerful than we think. A small act of kindness and speaking in someone's language could open a door that was once closed. Other workers who passed by stopped and looked. They had never seen the janitor and the CEO talking like friends. Some smiled quietly, feeling the change in the air. Daniel felt proud but calm. He was still the janitor, but now, he was also someone who had reached out. After a while, Mr. Tanaka stood up straight and bowed slightly. "Thank you, Daniel-san," he said with respect. "You have helped more than you know." Daniel smiled back. "I am happy to help, sir." The CEO left the building soon after, but Daniel stayed a little longer, finishing his cleaning with a lighter heart. He thought about the unexpected conversation and how it had changed his evening. That night, as Daniel walked home, he felt something new: hope. He hoped that one day, people would see him not just as a janitor but as a person with dreams and skills. He hoped Mia would grow up knowing that kindness and courage could make a difference. Back at home, Mia was waiting with her bright smile. Daniel hugged her tightly and told her about the evening. Mia listened with wide eyes and said, "Daddy, you are a hero." Daniel laughed softly and kissed her forehead. "Maybe, Mia. But the real hero is kindness." They sat together, planning their weekend and sharing stories. Daniel knew that no matter what happened at work, he had the most important thing in the world: his daughter's love. And in the quiet moments before sleep, Daniel thought about Mr. Tanaka and the new friendship that had begun. He was ready to face whatever came next with a stronger heart and a hopeful spirit. The next day at the office, Daniel returned to his usual routine. He arrived early in the evening, carrying his mop and bucket. As always, he wore his simple blue uniform and moved quietly through the halls. But this evening felt different in his heart. He thought about the conversation with Mr. Tanaka the night before. The CEO's soft voice speaking Japanese had surprised Daniel. It was the first time he had ever spoken that language with someone outside his family since Hannah passed away. Daniel remembered the many evenings he had spent with Hannah, learning her language bit by bit. She was patient and kind, teaching him words and phrases while they sat together in their small kitchen. Daniel still kept a small notebook where he wrote down Japanese words and their meanings. It was a secret gift from his late wife. As Daniel mopped near the reception area, he noticed Mr. Tanaka sitting silently at his desk. The CEO looked tired but calm. Daniel wanted to say something, but he was unsure if it was the right time. Instead, he quietly cleaned the floor nearby, careful not to disturb the peace. But his curiosity grew. He wished he could learn more about Mr. Tanaka, not just as a boss but as a person. After a few minutes, Mr. Tanaka called out softly, "Daniel-san, come here, please." Daniel was surprised. He put down his mop and walked over carefully. The CEO looked up and smiled gently. "Would you like to join me for tea in the small lounge?" he asked in Japanese. Daniel nodded eagerly. He had never been invited to the CEO's office before. It was a special moment. The lounge was a simple room with a small table and 2 chairs. Mr. Tanaka prepared 2 cups of green tea and handed one to Daniel. They sat down quietly, the soft sound of tea being poured filling the room. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Mr. Tanaka began, "Daniel-san, I have noticed your hard work and kindness. It is rare to see such dedication." Daniel felt a warmth inside. No one had ever said that to him before. He smiled and replied, "Thank you, sir. I only want to do my best." The conversation flowed easily after that. Mr. Tanaka shared stories about his family in Japan. He told Daniel how he felt alone sometimes, managing the company and taking care of his aging parents. Daniel listened with respect. In return, Daniel talked about Mia, his daughter. He spoke about how she loved to learn and how he hoped she would grow up to be strong and kind. He told Mr. Tanaka about Hannah and how she had taught him Japanese. Mr. Tanaka's eyes softened as he listened. "You have a beautiful family, Daniel-san," he said softly. "Your daughter is lucky to have you." Daniel felt tears in his eyes but held them back. He nodded gratefully. As the evening passed, the 2 men continued to talk in Japanese. Daniel found himself remembering more words and phrases he had almost forgotten. The language felt like a bridge between their worlds, connecting them in a way neither had expected. Daniel realized something important: language was more than words. It was a way to share feelings, to build trust, and to understand each other. For years, Daniel had felt invisible in the office, just a janitor. But tonight, speaking Japanese had made him visible. Before leaving, Mr. Tanaka handed Daniel a small notebook. "I want you to have this," he said. "It is a guide to Japanese business culture. It helped me when I started. Maybe it will help you too." Daniel took the notebook with surprise and gratitude. It was more than just a book, it was a sign of respect and friendship. Back in the hallway, Daniel looked at his mop and bucket. They were still his tools, but now he felt something new: hope. He was not just cleaning floors, he was learning, growing, and connecting. That night, Daniel went home and told Mia everything. She listened carefully and smiled. "Daddy, you are like a bridge between two worlds," she said, hugging him. Daniel smiled back and kissed her forehead. "Yes, Mia. And bridges help people come together." The next morning, Daniel woke up early to practice the Japanese phrases Mr. Tanaka had taught him. He wanted to be ready for their next conversation. He knew this was just the beginning. At work, Daniel noticed that some of the employees started to smile at him more. They seemed curious about the change in the CEO too. Daniel didn't mind. He kept working quietly but with a new feeling of purpose. He thought about Hannah and how proud she would be. Even though she was gone, her language and love were still alive in him and Mia. And so, the quiet janitor who mopped floors every night began to discover a new world through words, friendship, and courage. It was a simple start, but Daniel knew it could change everything. After their quiet tea meeting, Daniel returned to his cleaning tasks with a light heart. The evening air seemed warmer, and the floors he mopped sparkled brighter in the soft office lights. He thought about how Mr. Tanaka, the silent CEO, had opened a small door for him, a door Daniel never expected to see. As Daniel finished cleaning the hallway outside the CEO's office, the door suddenly opened. Mr. Tanaka stepped out, looking calm but with a new kind of energy. He stopped in front of Daniel, who was a little surprised. "Daniel-san," Mr. Tanaka said quietly, "may I speak with you for a moment?" Daniel nodded and followed him into the office. It was a large room filled with books, papers, and a big desk. For a moment, Daniel felt nervous. He was just a janitor, after all. What could the CEO want with him? Mr. Tanaka smiled gently and said, "I have been thinking about our conversation yesterday. Your kindness and courage to speak Japanese to me surprised me, and in a good way." Daniel looked down shyly. "I only spoke what I learned from my wife." "Still," said Mr. Tanaka, "it shows you are more than your job title. You have skills and a heart that many people do not see." Daniel's cheeks warmed. He had never heard such words from someone so important. It made him feel proud but also a little confused. "Thank you, sir," Daniel said softly. "I just want to do my best for my daughter and this company." Mr. Tanaka nodded. "I want to offer you something. Would you be interested in joining a special meeting tomorrow?" Daniel blinked. "A meeting? But I am just a janitor." "Sometimes," said Mr. Tanaka, "people from unexpected places have the best ideas. I want you to be there." Daniel was surprised and nervous. He had never been to a company meeting before. These meetings were usually for managers and business people, not janitors. but he remembered Hannah's words, "Be brave, Daniel. Your kindness is your strength." The next day, Daniel arrived early, feeling both excited and scared. He wore his clean uniform and carried his small notebook of Japanese phrases. When it was time for the meeting, Mr. Tanaka personally came to get him. The room was filled with many people, managers, workers, and staff. They all looked at Daniel as he entered. Some whispered quietly, surprised to see the janitor there. Mr. Tanaka introduced Daniel to the group. "This is Daniel," he said. "He has helped me understand an important part of our work, the human side. I want him to share his thoughts with us." Daniel took a deep breath. He looked around the room at the serious faces. He thought about Mia waiting for him at home and the hope that this moment could mean more. He spoke simply but clearly. "I work here every night. I see the workers tired. I see the rooms messy when people are stressed. I think if we make small changes, people will feel better and work better." The room was quiet. Daniel's words were simple, but they came from the heart. Slowly, people began to nod. Mr. Tanaka smiled. "Daniel is right. Sometimes, the best ideas come from those who see things clearly from the outside." The meeting continued with new energy. Daniel listened and learned. He felt part of something bigger than before. For the first time, he saw himself not just as a janitor, but as a valuable part of the company. After the meeting, some workers came up to Daniel. They shook his hand and thanked him for speaking up. Daniel felt shy but happy. That evening, as Daniel finished his cleaning, he thought about the surprising turn his life was taking. The silent CEO had really seen him, and that was more than he had ever hoped for. At home, Daniel told Mia all about the meeting. She smiled wide and said, "Daddy, you are amazing." Daniel hugged her tightly. "I am only trying to be the best dad I can." That night, Daniel placed Hannah's photo on the table and whispered, "Thank you for giving me the courage." He knew the road ahead would not always be easy. But with kindness, hope, and the new friendship with Mr. Tanaka, Daniel was ready to face whatever came next. The quiet janitor was no longer invisible. He was part of a story bigger than himself, one that was just beginning. After the meeting, a new feeling grew between Daniel and Mr. Tanaka. It was more than just respect, it was the beginning of a friendship. Over the next few days, Daniel noticed the CEO spending more time in the office during the evenings, often alone but sometimes pausing to smile when he saw Daniel. One evening, as Daniel was mopping near the CEO's office, the door opened gently. Mr. Tanaka stepped out and called softly, "Daniel-san, please join me." Daniel's heart beat faster. He quickly finished mopping and followed Mr. Tanaka inside. The office was quiet and warm with soft lights. Mr. Tanaka invited Daniel to sit by the small window, where they could see the city lights twinkle. "I want to thank you, Daniel-san," said Mr. Tanaka, his voice soft but sincere. "You have reminded me that even in a big company, people's stories matter." Daniel smiled shyly. "Thank you, sir. I am just a father doing my best." Mr. Tanaka nodded. "And a good father is one of the most important things in the world." For a moment, the two men sat in silence, watching the night outside. Then Mr. Tanaka began to share. "I was born in Japan and moved here many years ago to build this company. It has been hard. My parents are old now, and I worry about them. Sometimes I feel very alone." Daniel listened closely. He thought about his own loneliness after Hannah passed away. "I understand," he said quietly. I lost my wife too. It was very hard. But I have Mia, and she gives me strength. Mr. Tanaka looked at Daniel with understanding eyes. Family is a powerful reason to keep going. The two men began to talk more openly. Mr. Tanaka told Daniel about his early days in the company, the challenges he faced, and the dreams he had for the future. Daniel shared stories of Mia, her laughter, and her curious questions about the world. Daniel talked about the lessons Hannah had taught him, the importance of kindness, patience, and learning from others. He spoke about the Japanese language that connected him to Hannah's memory and to Mr. Tanaka. "You honor her memory well," said Mr. Tanaka softly. The conversation was gentle and full of respect. Daniel felt like he had found a friend, someone who understood the quiet struggles of life. As the night grew deeper, Mr. Tanaka said, "Thank you, Daniel-san, for sharing your story. It reminds me why this company exists, not just for business, but for people." Daniel nodded, feeling proud and hopeful. The next few weeks were different for Daniel. The office staff began to treat him with more kindness. Some workers stopped to say hello or offer a smile. Mr. Tanaka often walked past Daniel's cleaning cart and gave a small nod of encouragement. Daniel still worked hard every night, but now he felt seen and appreciated. The loneliness he once felt in the big building slowly started to fade. At home, Mia noticed the change too. "Daddy, you look happier," she said one morning, hugging him tightly. Daniel smiled. "It's because people are starting to notice kindness, Mia." One day, Mr. Tanaka invited Daniel to join a small team that worked on improving the company's worker welfare. Daniel was nervous but excited. He knew he could share ideas from what he saw during his nightly rounds, the tired faces, the busy schedules, and the small things that could make a difference. In the meetings, Daniel spoke honestly and simply. He talked about the need for better rest areas, more breaks, and kindness between co-workers. His ideas were practical and thoughtful. The team listened carefully. Mr. Tanaka often looked at Daniel with pride. "Your voice matters," he would say. Daniel thought about Hannah and the dreams they once shared. He knew she would be proud of him too. One evening, after a long day, Daniel and Mr. Tanaka sat together again, sharing green tea. This time, their talk was lighter, filled with laughter and small stories about their lives. Daniel told Mr. Tanaka about Mia's favorite books and her love of drawing. Mr. Tanaka spoke about his old garden in Japan and the cherry blossoms that bloomed every spring. They realized that even though their lives were very different, they shared the same hopes, love, family, and kindness. Daniel felt grateful. The quiet janitor who once moved unseen through empty halls was now part of a community of family beyond blood. As Daniel left the office that night, he looked back at the building with a new light in his eyes. He knew the journey was not over, but with friendship and courage, every step was worth it. Weeks passed since Daniel had joined the team working on improving the company's worker welfare. His days became busier, balancing his janitor duties with meetings and new responsibilities. The office felt less like a place where he was invisible and more like a community he helped shape. One afternoon, Daniel was cleaning the conference room after a meeting. He was wiping the long table when Mr. Tanaka entered, looking serious. "Daniel-san," Mr. Tanaka began, "there is a challenge coming. The company is planning a big project in Japan. It will require many meetings with Japanese partners. I want you to be part of this." Daniel blinked in surprise. "Me? But I am just a janitor." Mr. Tanaka smiled kindly. "You have something special. Your knowledge of the language and your honesty can help us." Daniel thought about it. It was a big opportunity, but also a big responsibility. He wanted to do well for his daughter and for the company that had started to feel like a second home. Over the next few days, Daniel prepared carefully. He studied the notebook Mr. Tanaka had given him, practiced speaking Japanese, and learned about the project's details. He wanted to be ready. The day of the first meeting arrived. Daniel wore a clean shirt under his uniform jacket. His heart beat fast, but he told himself, "Be brave, like Hannah taught you." In the meeting room, the Japanese partners spoke politely but seriously. Daniel listened carefully and spoke when needed. His words were simple but clear. He helped explain some ideas and translated small points for Mr. Tanaka. The partners were impressed. They saw that Daniel was honest and hardworking, not just a helper but a true part of the team. After the meeting, Mr. Tanaka smiled and said, "Well done, Daniel-san. You have done your family and this company proud." Daniel felt proud but also tired. The work was harder than he expected, but it felt important. One evening, as Daniel was finishing cleaning the office, his phone rang. It was Mia's school. The principal said Mia had a fever and should be picked up. Daniel's heart jumped. He quickly left the building and rushed to Mia's school. When he arrived, Mia was sitting quietly, looking pale but smiling when she saw him. "Daddy," she said softly, "I don't feel well." Daniel took her hand gently. "Don't worry, Mia. I am here now." He took her to the doctor, stayed by her side, and helped her rest at home for several days. During this time, Daniel's work slowed. He missed some meetings and cleaning shifts. One afternoon, Mr. Tanaka came to visit Daniel's home. He brought flowers for Mia and a warm smile for Daniel. "How is Mia?" Mr. Tanaka asked kindly. "She is resting now," Daniel said. "Thank you for coming." Mr. Tanaka nodded. "Family comes first. You do not need to worry about work right now." Daniel was grateful. It was the first time someone at the company showed such care. As Mia recovered, Daniel thought about his life. The new job responsibilities were important, but so was being a good father. He had to find balance. One evening, he sat down with Mr. Tanaka and spoke honestly. "Sir, I want to do my best for this company. But Mia needs me too. I don't want to lose her." Mr. Tanaka listened and smiled gently. "Daniel-san, I respect your honesty. Family is the foundation of everything. We will find a way to support you." Together, they worked out a plan. Daniel would attend important meetings but still keep his janitor duties part-time. The company would help with some child care support. Daniel felt relieved. He knew the road ahead might still be hard, but he was not alone. That night, Daniel told Mia about the plan. She hugged him and said, "Daddy, you are my hero." Daniel smiled, feeling the warmth of her love. He looked at the photo of Hannah on the wall and whispered, "Thank you for guiding me." He knew challenges would come, but with hope, kindness, and support, he could face them all. The janitor who once felt invisible was now a man with a purpose, a father, a friend, and a valued part of a growing family. Months passed since Daniel first spoke Japanese to Mr. Tanaka. The company had changed in small but important ways. The workers smiled more, the office felt warmer, and Daniel's life had taken a new path, one filled with hope and connection. One bright morning, Daniel arrived at the office earlier than usual. He wore his clean uniform and carried his small notebook, filled now with new words and ideas. Mia's laughter echoed in his mind, reminding him why he works so hard. As Daniel walked through the halls, he noticed more friendly faces. Some stopped to greet him by name. The janitor who once moved quietly and unseen was now part of the company's heart. Mr. Tanaka greeted Daniel near the entrance, holding a small box wrapped in plain paper. "Good morning, Daniel-san," he said with a smile. "Today is a special day." Daniel was curious. "Special? For what?" Mr. Tanaka opened the box to reveal a shiny new keycard and a certificate. "You have been promoted," he said simply. "Not to manager or director, but to the position of employee ambassador." Daniel's eyes widened. "Employee ambassador? What does that mean?" "It means," Mr. Tanaka explained, "you are the voice of the workers and the bridge between the company and its people. Your kindness and honesty have brought us closer. We want you to help us keep that connection strong." Daniel felt tears of joy well up. He thought about Hannah and Mia, the long nights of cleaning, the hard days of learning a new language, and the quiet moments of hope. "I will do my best," Daniel said, holding the keycard carefully. That day, Daniel stood before a group of employees in the break room. He spoke with calm confidence, sharing stories of teamwork, kindness, and respect. The workers listened closely. They saw not just a janitor, but a leader who understood their struggles and dreams. After the meeting, many came forward to thank Daniel. They shared their own stories and ideas, inspired by his courage. In the weeks that followed, Daniel worked closely with Mr. Tanaka and the management team. Together, they organized programs for worker health, better rest areas, and activities to bring people together. Daniel also spent more time with Mia, helping her with schoolwork and sharing quiet moments. He taught her some Japanese, smiling as she tried to pronounce the words. They dreamed of visiting Japan someday to see the cherry blossoms and meet Mr. Tanaka's family. One evening, as Daniel tucked Mia into bed, she looked up with bright eyes. "Daddy, you changed everything." Daniel smiled softly. "No, Mia. We changed it together." He kissed her forehead and whispered, "Thank you for being my light." Later, Daniel stood by the window, looking out at the city lights. The building he cleaned every night was no longer a place of loneliness but a place of hope. He thought about his journey, the struggles, the losses, and the surprises. A silent CEO had become a friend. A simple janitor had become a leader. And through it all, love had been the strongest force. Daniel touched the small notebook where he wrote new Japanese words. It was a symbol of his past and his future. He whispered to the night, "This is just the beginning." And with that, Daniel stepped forward ready to build bridges, spread kindness, and face whatever came next.